This is HighIntensityBusiness.com with Lawrence Neal, helping you achieve your health and fitness goals. Become a great personal trainer and build your high-intensity strength training business.
This episode is brought to you by ARX, the most innovative, efficient, and effective all-in-one exercise machines I have ever seen. I was really impressed with my ARX workout. The intensity and adaptive resistance was unlike anything I've ever experienced. I love how the machine enables you to increase the negative load to fatigue target muscles more quickly, and I love how the workouts are effortlessly quantified. The software tracks maximum force output, rate of work, total amount of work done, and more in front of you on screen, allowing you to compete with your previous performance to give you and your clients real-time motivation. The ARX uses a computer-controlled motor to give you the exact amount of resistance your clients need 100% of the time. This means that the resistance can never become dangerous, is intuitive and simple to use, and can provide you with all of the results you and your clients are looking for in a fraction of the time. ARX is highly effective and efficient in delivering all of the benefits of exercise, including increased strength, muscle mass, cardiovascular conditioning, bone mineral density, and injury recovery. As well as being utilized by many high-intensity trainers to deliver highly effective and efficient workouts to their clients, ARX comes highly recommended by world-class trainers and brands, including Bulletproof, Tony Robbins, and Ben Greenfield Fitness. To find out more about ARX and get $500 off install when you place an order, please go to arxfit.com and mention HIB, that's High Intensity Business, in the How Did You Hear About Us field. So again, to get $500 off install when you place an order, head on over to arxfit.com and enter HIB in the How Did You Hear About Us field. Lawrence Neal here, and welcome back to HighIntensityBusiness.com. Today's guest is one of your favorites, Gary Knight, who's been on the show multiple times. Gary is an experienced online health and fitness coach. And recently we were chatting and we decided that, I decided that it would be interesting and helpful for me to have someone help coach me and help me, improve my health and fitness. And I think for me personally, I've been taking on more responsibilities, and I thought it would be helpful to have someone keep me accountable and do some of the hard thinking for me on the training program and such. And Gary was kind enough to offer me that. So what we thought we would do is actually record this first coaching session for two reasons, really. One, to give those of you who might be interested in this type of service a taste of what Gary offers. And then secondly, if you are a coach or planning on becoming a coach, then you'll be able to see how Gary delivers his coaching, and that will also be helpful to you. So Gary, the floor is yours, mate. And talk to me about how I can get crazy gains.
Awesome. I'm glad to have you here, Lawrence. Yeah, so basically, obviously people can imagine chats are somewhat more informal when you meet someone for the first time. So there's obviously a lot of preamble with getting to know someone and things like that, but we're pretty well acquainted, so we're pretty much right to jump right into it. But what I will do is first just kind of ask you, what's been happening with your training lately? Like, what are you currently doing? What's the rate of progress? And, what would you sort of like to get out of this process?
Yeah, awesome. So I would say I've been a little disorganized with my training. I'm definitely a bit guilty of program hopping, so to speak. But, the way I do it at the moment is I have a Google Sheet, which I use to track my workouts. I use it to track my routine, my performance, things like that. And at the moment, I've kind of been playing around with Body by Science inspired workouts. So tend to be quite abbreviated, 5 to 8 exercises, most of them being multi-joint. I've played around with some of the Jürgen Giesing stuff, which is similar push-pull routines. And then, as I said, the Body by Science kind of big 5, big 3, kind of alternating. And I started going down the path of starting to plan my year. So January I would do big 5 positive only. And then, February I do like big 3 with rest pause. And the whole point of planning the calendar like that was to almost provide an ebb and flow for recovery. Because obviously, you probably know this, but in Body by Science, Doug talks about overtraining being a process, not an event. So I started doing that, but then we talked about this and I thought, you know what, I'm quite happy to let you kind of help take over the programming. So I don't know if that kind of answers your question on what I've been doing from a training perspective. And in terms of frequency, probably like once a week on average at the moment. Again, I'm really open to your view on that and different approaches we can play around with. And in terms of progress, I mean, obviously, as you know, I've been able to maintain a body fat percentage of around probably 8 to 10% for well over, a couple years now, probably, maybe longer than that. And, in the same tracker I mentioned that I use to, record my programs, I'll also track my changes in body composition. I do it literally with a scales and do a 3-point caliper test on myself. Now I know that they are, the caliper, for instance, can be very inaccurate, but obviously if you use the same tool, then all you really care about is seeing the change go in the right direction. And it would appear, having tracked it for, I think, over a year now, that I am slowly gaining muscle, but it's like a couple pounds a year, that kind of thing. It would seem. I think when I started doing this, I was around, sitting around kind of 153. And I think now I'm probably around 156, 157 at 8% body fat, something like that. I could be slightly wrong there. So we might need to fact check that. So yeah, I mean, that's where I'm at. And obviously, I guess what my goals are really is to, my kind of belief, Gary, is that like I've probably, achieved the most lean muscle that I'm likely to achieve. And anything out from here is really, really marginal. I think my genetic, predisposition is one that doesn't gain much in the way of muscle mass. I think I'm, like Doug said, I'm the one who would, in the tribe, who probably chase down the mastodon as opposed to dragging it back to the camp, which you and Jay Vincent would be doing. So I think that's kind of where I'm at. And, to be honest with you, I'm very happy with my physique and my appearance. And, I'd be, quite content with maintaining this for the rest of my life, but it would be also fun to see if I could gain additional muscle mass and whether or not, I'm doing things in my diet or lifestyle or training that are holding me back. And I think it would just be fun to just experiment with you and to just have you keep me accountable. So yeah, I'm always open to seeing if I can gain more muscle mass. The only caveat is, I think for me, I've got obviously a growing list of responsibilities. I've got my business. I've got a baby on the way coming November this year. I've got a personal training business that's also starting in the background. So I'm conscious of the amount of time and effort I can put into this. And so I'll have to kind of, I suppose it would depend on what you prescribe me wouldn't necessarily be a lot more than what I already do, which is fine. But it's just something to think about when we're thinking about exactly what type of commitment I'm going to have to make. So hopefully that makes sense. So hopefully that answers the question.
Yeah, no, it does make sense. And that is a lot of information to tease out. But sort of the first comment you made was kind of in regards to program hopping. And that's kind of the first thing you need to get a handle on, because jumping program too often, it's like recalibrating your instruments, and every time you get in the plane, it's reading something a little bit different. Even though, a fresh change every now and then, a little bit of novelty in your training kind of helps keep you interested in rocking up to the gym week in, week out. In order to kind of really build that useful data set, things need to kind of simplify, and you need to ballast the routine you do for a little while, 2 to 3 months, just to kind of see how you respond, If you're changing program every 6 weeks, I just don't think that's going to happen, because I think you switch everything out, you learn a new technique for a new exercise, you get a few arbitrary gains quickly, pretty much because you've just kind of come in soft to a new exercise and then you catch up quickly. And it's not the best way to go. So there's certain exercises that they should almost be with you for all of your training. Some basic ones might be like a close grip pull down, your favorite chest press machine or a dumbbell press, and then either a leg press or a squat. And those things should be with you for your entire training career because they're the basic, push, pull and leg exercises that you can keep a consistent metric on across your training career. Because at the end of the day, like, your primary goal is to just handle as much weight as possible with a controlled cadence on your basic push, your basic pull down, and your basic leg exercise, because that covers the majority of muscle mass. Almost all the other exercises you do are just a little bit of detail work, but they're mostly fluff in some regards. So, even when I look at my clients, when I look at your training cycle, I'm not going to be too worried about how good your rope push down was for your triceps. I'm going to be worried about your chest press. I'm not going to be worried about your leg extension or your hemi curl. I'm going to worry about your leg press. And same is true for the back. I don't care about your bicep curl so much, but your basic pull down, that thing needs to be tracking first. And the reason I kind of take that approach to your training, even though you're probably going to do, maybe a 2 or 3 way split, 4 or 5 exercises a workout, that very first big basic exercise is going to be the most reliable way to track what's happening. So you're coming into it fresh every single week. You can apply yourself to it properly with full concentration, and that's going to be the main metric. And one of the things is when you do a really good job on the first exercise of a workout is it flows through to the other activities. So, for example, tonight I trained back, started off with a pull down. And if I do a good job of the pull down, it's very unlikely that my row or my shrugs later on are going to improve at all. Because the first exercise hammers the grip, it hammers the back, and it kind of taps you out for later on. So it's those big basic first exercises that are going to be the thing you need to focus on. The other thing I think we need to do with you is go back to basics. It's a funny thing, like, often when you want to appear like you're an expert in high intensity training, you first talk about the sort of Mensa principles of working hard, low duration, plenty of recovery, so wide frequency or infrequent training. And then you start talking about sort of intensity boosting techniques. And so, the flashier you are with high intensity training, the more you're going to quote, rest pause, the latest buzzwords, myo reps, which just drives me insane. It's such a wanky term. You know what I mean? It's just like, why like, I just want to talk real talk. I don't want to say things that would appear on the back of an ingredients list. So, like, I like to strip out all of the intensity techniques. Like, I don't want to be doing rest pause or negatives, drop sets, forced reps, anything like that. Like, I just want to go right back to positive failure as our one way to track progress. Controlled cadences, 4-4 cadence on every exercise. If there's a max contracted position, so obviously with someone who's a bit green to training, they might not know what that means, but we know that when a target muscle's fully closed up, but there's still an appreciable load in that position, that's the max contracted position. So any exercises like a pull down where you've got a max contracted position or a row, we'll do an additional 2-second hold in that position. So it'll be either a 4-4.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, so like obviously the technical way to describe cadence is the 4 numbers, which are the eccentric pause time, concentric pause time. But it's essentially 4-4 or 4-2-4 when we just talk in the normal way we lift. So lift the barbell in 4, hold for 2, lower for 4 seconds, smooth controlled turnarounds at both ends, which you know how to do, shouldn't be a drama. 6 to 10 rep range for upper body, 12 to 20 rep range for lower body. The only reason it's slightly higher on the lower body is just a safety thing. When you're loading up the lower back, the hips, the knees, I think it's always better to err on the side of caution because those things need to keep you upright and walking around and doing other tasks, whereas I feel like the arms get a bit more of a rest. There's a few theories about, a higher percentage of slower twitch fibers making it better to train them in that way, but I don't see it as that. I just see it as a safety thing. and otherwise 6 to 10 for the upper body is fine because it gives us decidability. So when you can do 10 reps of something you could previously only do 6 of, takes you a couple of weeks to get there, and you know that once you hit 10 or the top of the rep range, you're in clear space and you're free to use the next weight the following week. So that's basically our tool for progression. So going to fix all our elements of form. So just to go over those again for you, I know you know them, but we're going to restate them just to make sure there's presence of mind there. First thing you want to think about is just posture. You know, you're nice and upright, shoulders back with most exercises, proud chest. No slouching or anything like that. You want to make sure you have a fixed range of motion, path of motion. Go to the point of momentary muscular failure where you can't move the weight anymore with good form and or posture, and then record the load and the results for that working set in terms of whole repetition. So half reps don't count. Not going to do time under load. The reason I don't like time under load is because it's very easy to get stuck in a sticking point, count an extra 5, count an extra 10 seconds. Imagine you're ahead. It's more blurry than you think it would be. A cadence is the best with reps because it describes where the exercise is difficult. And just having that whole chunk of one clean rep is a much better way to look at it and make decisions. Otherwise, you literally fuss over minutiae. Right. So it's about stepping back from minutiae. A lot of people love time under load, micro weights and things like that, but they often cloud what you're doing because you start to worry about these imperceptible factors. What we want to track is whole numbers, human scale numbers that your brain knows how to work with it. You know what I mean? And it's very easy to like get halfway through a barbell curl and go, no, I couldn't get it all the way up. It's not an extra rep. It's not an extra half rep. I just got the same number as last week. And until I get that next clean, controlled rep, we're not going forward. You know, that's the best way to look at it. So basically, I know you understand cadence. I know you know how to write down your results in a data tracker. I know you know how to track your food. I know you like to have a carnivore approach, which I'm all pretty happy with. In terms of calories, what have you been doing lately? What number are you at?
So I don't really track calories.
At all. So you're just eating meat?
But like probably 90% meat and eggs. And then the rest is veggies and tubers, probably.
Yeah, okay. Cool.
But I would say I eat, I think I eat a lot. I probably eat around 2,500 a day. And I tend to eat it in 2 big meals, and I tend to sort of intermittent fast. So
yeah. And obviously what you naturally do and the habits you've been keeping up for the last few years are fine in terms of maintaining a lean physique. Obviously, we know that you probably have a natural predisposition to keep leaner than the average person. But having said all that, it's one thing to tell me you're eating enough food. It's one thing to tell me that you don't think you have any genetic potential left for growth. But at the end of the day, my job as a coach means I need to do due diligence on what you do. So I'm going to get you to track everything. So I've shared a Google sheet with you. We can share it with the listeners. We'll put a hyperlink up there, and we've shared it before, I think, on previous podcasts.
We'll put a link to your stuff where people can opt in to see it.
So we are going to use MyFitnessPal. We are going to get you to put that data into the tracker so that we can get some calories going. And I'm pretty happy for you just naturally put what you're comfortable eating for a while. You know, if we get a month's worth of data and we just see a trend, or maybe we see chaos, you know, maybe we see that you're all over the shop in terms of calories, you know, you're bouncing up and down based on how busy your day is. But ultimately, we just want to start capturing that information because it may or may not be critical. But if we don't capture it, we have no tools, we have no relationships to look at. So at the end of the day, we know you know how to train hard, and you're going to train hard. You're going to have time off in between the workouts. You're going to eat a certain amount of food, and then we're going to look at the metrics for change. So at the end of the day, if you're going up regularly with controlled cadences by increasing your reps and then occasionally going up to the next weight class or next dumbbell or next, you know, pin on the stack, we know that muscle mass is moving in the right direction. That's a pretty reliable proxy for moving forward. It's not perfect, but it's much better than not having a cadence and not tracking anything. And that's going to tell us that, our training, our recovery, our nutrition is all coming together to produce forward momentum. Now, if we find in a month's time the situation's changed and, you're not really moving forward, you've been stuck on the same reps, or you haven't been able to jump any weights at all, on the major lifts, then we need to kind of, look at all the other factors happening. So, how close together are these workouts? How's your sleep routine? Are you drinking enough water before you train? Are you having enough calories? Are you just not giving yourself enough food to make this happen and shift the needle? So that's why the first month is really, really critical in terms of gathering all the data. I mean, it's all very boring, bread and butter stuff, but it's like, do the basics and do them damned well, because when you do them really well, you have all these tactical options. When you're lazy about measuring food, where you just eyeball food instead of weighing it, and you're sloppy about entering it into MyFitnessPal and not checking the right category, because it's very easy to hit the wrong selection in terms of, what you ate. You might put the wrong cut of meat, miss a digit here and there, and then all of a sudden that thing's useless. So just bringing all of these choices about food quantities up to the sort of level of consciousness and recording what's happening every single day, so that we can build up a pattern that marries up against our training data, is really what the first month is all about. Boring, bread and butter, get the data, and then we can see what happens. But at the end of the day, if the first month goes by and I'm like, your pull downs, you've jumped weight once or twice to the next level on all of those big three exercises, the pull, push, and leg exercise, and your body fat's, stable, and your body weight might be stable or slightly up, then it's sort of a green light that, whatever we put together, that recipe's working. And until such point it doesn't work, we don't really need to look at it all that carefully. But if we track all that data really, really well to start with, and it doesn't go the way we want it to go, then we can see things. And there's always something there to explain it. You know what I mean? There's always something there to explain it. So that's kind of how the process is going to go. So with this Google sheet I've got for you, you've basically got daily calories. You can put the macros in if you want, but I trust you on macros, and I know you're mostly eating meat and protein, so it's not going to be a drama. You've got a weekly body weight measurement, so you're going to measure your body weight once a week. If you want to throw calipers in there from time to time, I don't mind, but honestly, simple's best. Body weight's fine. And then there's a monthly measurement for your waist circumference. You can add little things in there like bust, chest, hips, thighs, calves. They're all in there, but I've highlighted just waist because honestly it's a pretty good proxy. But if you want to put the other measurements in, like your arm size and your thigh size, go for it. Not a drama. But definitely get the waist, because that's going to just tell us if we're adding body weight or body fat around the middle for the most part. And it'll marry up with the body weight a little bit. But only monthly, because I don't want you to be too neurotic about it. It's all about putting these things in their right place, because those things don't change quick. Calories change quick every day, so you have to be on top of them every day. They happen every day. They need to be in. Weekly body weight is the right resolution. Monthly waist circumference is the correct resolution.
Do I need to track the number of glasses of water that I drink?
Listen, I just think you shouldn't go into a workout unless you piss clear. That's me. That's actually my ritual. So my ritual is I piss clear, and it can't be a coffee piss. It can't be I've had a shitload of coffee and I'm now just, pushing moisture out. I've had some big tumblers of water, an hour out, and I'm pissing clear and I'm good to go. That's the best way to approach it. That way you're not dehydrated. But you don't conversely want to be smashing too much water during the day, because you can kind of push all the electrolytes and salts out of the body. So get it right. You should be drinking regularly.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm not much of a water drinker, because I find that when you eat a very whole food diet, especially, actually I don't know how meat and eggs compares to fruit and veg and things. I suppose fruit and veg got a lot of water in it. But I find that you get a lot of water just in your diet. So I don't really drink a great deal outside of my diet. Or at least I don't feel thirsty.
Yeah, well, that's not a problem if you don't feel thirsty. But like I said, just be mindful of it around workout time. You want to go into your workout a little bit flush, a good habit to get in. Because I can tell you, just from training clients in person, it's the number one thing that tanks a workout. It's amazing how many people stuff up on just that simple point. And being dehydrated, if your piss is amber, you're probably going to lose 5% of your ability, maybe 10% of your ability. It can throw the numbers. So as part of that, warranty of getting good, accurate numbers, drinking water is much more important than people give it credit for. It's an easy win, a really easy win. And then we've got a workout tracker, so you can put the body part or the split you trained during that week. I don't really care if you fill this out, but I'm hoping to get you training 3 times a week, actually. I know you're busy. I know you've got a few things on, but I just want to get you on a 3-way split. And I don't mind if you spread it out over like a 9 or 10 day cycle. So it doesn't have to be a 1 in 7 frequency between analogous workouts. It can be, train 1 day, have 2 to 3 days off, train again, 2 to 3 days off, train again. So if you want to go a little wider than the 7-day turnaround per, same workout, do that. So, and the reason for that is because you've been doing it a little while now and you're often doing, the big 5 style workouts. It's in Doug's book, but it's not kind of brought up enough. But when you're advanced, like a full body workout, I think it's the hardest thing in the bloody world. Like I hate full body workouts.
I agree.
Because the poundages I have to use are just so much, and you're hitting the entire spread of musculature on your body, and it's crushing. And so I think the split is actually a tool to manage recovery. It's people often look at like a 3-way split and go, oh God, I'm going to be training so much. Oh, I'm going to be overwhelmed. But I think the reverse is true. Hey, I think the full body is like absolutely just taxing. Most split workouts are 1 or 2 toughies with a few fluffy filler exercises at the end of the day. And they're usually your favorite exercises. So I just want to try you on a 3-way split, but what we'll do is, 2, 3, maybe even 4 days rest in between those workouts. But I just want to break the body up that way because I think we'll get more out of it. But we're not going to do any more than 5 exercises per workout. So keep it very, very lean, very, very simple, and run it that way. So what we're going to do now is we might set up your log sheet. So I'm just going to do, I reckon we just do a basic push-pull legs. That's pretty much the easiest way to do it.
Cool.
So for your primary chest exercise, what's your go-to exercise?
Basic I love a good chest press machine, like standard chest press, yeah.
Yeah, so chest press machine, cool. And then do you have a fly machine or do you like dumbbell flies?
Do I have a fly machine? Do you know what I mean, I can do either. I haven't done flies in years, but I'm happy to do them. Yeah.
Let's do machine fly. Okay. So if you can find one of those ones that have got the sort of nice wide arms and they keep tension on in that contracted position, really, really nice.
Can you send me a video for the form for a machine fly? Just want to make sure I get the form right.
Yeah, I can. There should be some on my old YouTube ones, but we'll find it. But the only caveat I would put on that exercise now is it's a little good tip from Bill D. Simone. He says don't let your arms come back further than your peripheral vision. And it's a hot tip, hey, and it's something I would have ignored as a young man, but getting a little bit older and I've had an injury on the shoulder that was work-related, it makes a lot of sense. You don't need these big hyper stretches, so that's a good one with that exercise. And that's why I like the machine fly as opposed to the dumbbells, because I think the dumbbells can get away from you in the stretch position and just add that little bit of risk, whereas the machine fly is all happening in this sort of contracted position, which is really, really cool. Do you do any direct shoulder work, like a dumbbell press?
At the moment, I tend to do an overhead press with the machine, I do lateral raises with dumbbells.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So what we might do is do a dumbbell press, and we're going to do that at a high incline. So I want you to set the seat so that it's not vertical. Push it down just one click or two, but not so much that it's like hitting your upper pecs. It's still overhead, but you just back a little bit. And the reason for that is you're not actually designed to do a true overhead. When you do a true overhead, all these kind of connective tissues bite up. You're not meant to do it. So you're kind of like forcing and grinding it up. So you can kind of put your hands in front of your body a little bit, and they're always comfortable about there. And then if you set your seat back so that it then squares your arms up to gravity, you'll get a nice hit on the front delts, but you're not going to crunch anything up in the shoulder. So that's the best way to do it. And then we'll do dumbbell laterals, so side raises or whatever you like to call them, these ones. Nice and steady. And then we're going to do rope push down. So a little bit of detail work there.
Do I have to use a rope?
Yeah, man.
More productive?
The rope's the best.
Because I normally use a straight bar, but I'm quite happy to use a rope. I don't mind.
No. The reason why is, listen, people really hate it when you bring up the idea that you can shape a muscle, but pressing exercises hit that, I think it's the medial head, this one on the side. And for some reason, extension exercises seem to hit the long head on the back side of the muscle if you're looking here. And just my experience has always been that if I don't have an extension movement, it's like the side of my tricep develops right out, but the long head, it's like it almost like it disappears sometimes. And you say that on the internet, there's going to be a flood of trolls going, the muscle contracts together, but it's just, there's a reason there's that myth of shaping a muscle, because there's a little bit of room to play with. It's not perfect. You can't make yourself look like another human being. Your muscle's your muscle, but there is definitely a way to separate roughly or change the way you stimulate fibers by changing angles and exercises. And the reason I like the rope is because if you do it properly, nice and light, nice and slow, and really squeeze it out at the bottom, really get that hard contraction on it, you'll build that part of the tricep really well. Inbound trolls are coming at the back end of this comment. Be ready.
Well,
I'm ready.
I would be concerned, at full extension or full contraction, how far do you exactly suggest I go? Because I wouldn't want to, because if you go too far, you can almost, where you bend the joint inwards, you bend the elbow joint inwards. And I would think that would be... Do your elbows
hyperextend?
I've got really weird elbows. I can do, yeah. I mean, mine, yeah. I mean, I won't show you on this video because that would be kind of weird. But I can. I mean, my elbows. You might. I used to do it as a joke at school. I'd do it, and I'd be like, "Look, my arms look like legs," and people used to think it was really weird.
I've had a few of the female clients I've had, and you would watch them at like the top of like an assisted dip. And you'd watch their elbows go the other way, and you'd be like, don't ever do that again. We're going to have to stop short with you. Because most people sort of lock out and it's not dangerous. But some people's elbows just flop the other way. They absolutely do. So just come down. Yeah, so just come down pretty firm. But I don't think with the rope that'll be too dangerous. But maybe just go to straight and that'll do. You don't need to hyperextend. But go to straight. Give it a squeeze at the bottom with the rope and go from it from there. Okay, so for pull down, listen, I'm going to do reverse grip pull down and just make the captain's call there because I just think it's the best exercise ever.
Can you just take one step back? Why would you want me to do the dumbbell lateral straight after a dumbbell press? Is it just because I thought you're using different muscle groups? Yeah, okay.
Oh, I mean, there'll be it'll hit the anterior head with the press and it'll hit the is it the medial head, the side head with the raise? So at the end of the day, there's going to be a bit of overlap.
Sure.
But what happens is if you just do shoulder presses, this part doesn't grow. You know what I mean? Like a very lucky individual gets everything they need from a press. Right. It's never been my experience. And most clients, some people naturally just have good shoulders and they get that really nice capped look. Someone like Jay Vincent's got really good sort of capped shoulders and it's probably a genetic thing, but I know for myself that if I don't include a side raise, this thing doesn't grow.
Really?
And we have to put it somewhere in the mix. And it might as well be after, because the anterior head's going to be temporarily weakened anyway, and the side head will be doing all of the effort. And obviously there's some side head work when you do press overhead, but it's not that much. Okay. And again, this is why I stress that your first metric's your critical one, you know what I mean? Because once you go down the line of exercises, they're all going to kind of affect each other's measurement a little bit. So they're kind of see the later order exercises as they just hit those little missed parts of the motor units. But their measurements are going to be rough compared to the initial exercise. The basic press, the basic pull down, the basic leg exercises is king as far as our metrics. The other stuff's just kind of fun and filler that hits those little missed sections of the fibers.
Just one other thing before we continue. I just want to make sure we get neck in here at some point as well.
I never do neck, hey?
Yeah.
But I'll...
Okay. Yeah.
I'll throw it in for you, but I'll
I just do. I don't have access to fancy Med-X Nautilus neck machines, so I just literally do. I just make it a part of my weekly routine where I will do time static contraction, neck flexion, neck extension, a la Project Kratos from Drew Bay. So I just wanted you to factor that into one of these routines, maybe at the tail end of a workout or something like that. Whatever.
Yeah, no, that's not a problem. I'll probably maybe chuck it on your back day. That'll probably be the native, I think. Okay, so we'll look at your pull down now. We're going to do reverse grip pull down to start. We are going to do a row, and you'll probably make the same thing. There'll be a bit of overlap. Of course there will be, but we're going to live with it.
Is that hands pronated on the pull down? Is that what that is? Or supinated? Supinated, sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, God,
I don't learn the fancy terms, bro. Otherwise, I sound like I'm too posh,
Well,
I alienate myself from people.
I recently learned that I don't know if you've been listening to Naval Ravikant stuff lately on Joe Rogan. It's excellent, but he made me feel very comfortable because he talked about how a lot of people try and memorize information, and it's like, it's not effective long term because you can't memorize everything you ever consume. So it's much more important to connect the dots and learn about principles from what you're learning as opposed to memorizing facts. And I've found that so liberating to hear because I've always struggled to remember facts and details, but I do obviously know I've taken a lot from what I've learned in terms of understanding principles and methods and things. This episode is brought to you by our sponsor, ARX. Are you looking to create a cutting-edge, high-intensity training facility? Are you confused on what equipment to use or how to separate yourself from the masses? Well, then ARX Fit might be the answer you're looking for. I asked Mike Polano from ARX a few questions about how ARX machines are challenging the status quo of the exercise industry around the globe. Mike, if you could, give the listeners a quick summary of why ARX is so different from the traditional machines or tools they're used to seeing in most exercise facilities.
ARX is totally different than anything you've seen before. This isn't just another weight stack machine. We've looked at the last 40 years of exercise technology and used that knowledge to create something entirely new. ARX uses a new form of resistance, a motor, and we pair that motor with computer software so that we can maximize the safety, effectiveness, and efficiency of your workouts. So you may be asking, okay, but how does ARX compare to weights? Traditional machines you see in gyms today are based on lifting metal weights and battling gravity. What people don't realize is that when you're forced to lift a static weight like this, one that doesn't adapt or change while you use it, you're underloading yourself rep after rep. And this unnecessarily limits your ability to make improvements. With ARX, we've taken a totally different approach. We removed weights and gravity from the equation altogether. Instead, ARX combines our patented motorized resistance with our custom computer software to provide you with the world's safest, most effective, and most quantified form of resistance training ever. When you train with ARX, you are training to your perfect level of resistance, both positively and negatively 100% of the time. No more guessing what weight to use. ARX does all of that for you, instantly and automatically. We'll also track and measure every second of every rep, So you can quantify all of your workouts to find out if you're improving and by exactly how much. Whether your goals are bigger muscles, increased strength, stronger bones, or just to look good in a bathing suit, ARX can help you achieve all of these and more, but do so in a fraction of the time it would take compared to traditional equipment. If you're looking for the most efficient, most effective, and most quantified piece of exercise equipment on the market today, then look no further than ARX.
Thanks, Mike. That all sounds really impressive. If you'd like to learn more about ARX, visit arxfit.com and mention that you heard about ARX on the High Intensity Business podcast to receive an exclusive deal of $500 off shipping and installation of your ARX machines. So anyway, sort of sidetrack there, but I just thought that
that's all right. Like I do understand that. Like just as an aside, like weirdly, I speak not very technical. I kind of speak at the resolution required so that someone can understand it and do it. And I'm more of a, do this, I'll show you this, copy it kind of guy. Weirdly, when I write things, I'm almost over technical. But I think sometimes when you commit things to paper, there's a higher burden, I think, because it's kind of there. It can be edited. It can be reviewed. People can check it. They can fact check it. So when I write things, I tend to be technical and precise. But when it comes to speech, it's about efficacy, get the point across, and it's about teaching people to take the action, not to worry about how they technically describe it. So we're going to do pull down a row. If you've got an isolateral hammer strength type row machine, I always preference those because you get the best of both worlds. You get the safety of a machine, being able to push to failure without any danger, but because you've got that asymmetry or that isolateral setup, if you've got a dominant limb, it can kind of correct for that a little bit. But again, if you don't have it, it's not the biggest drama.
I have an isolateral row that I really like. Yeah, so that's perfect. Yeah.
Wicked. Okay, we might throw in some shrugs. Hey, so dumbbell shrugs.
God.
Yeah, boy. You got to have that yoke. Hey, like you gotta. And this is another thing I think with the HIT community when you become too purist about the minimum effective dose, I think you miss a lot of coverage when it comes to training the muscles of your body. If you don't shrug, you're not going to get big traps. And I don't think you're going to build them from deadlifts. And I'm not even going to put deadlifts in this program anyway because I think they're more trouble than they're worth. So shrugs it is to build that yoke. You know what I mean? Back.
There's two exercises that I'm slightly worried about. This is really interesting because I feel like I'm going to have more motivation to actually go to failure. But I will tell you this: I've never ever gone to failure with shrugs because I think what it is I've been thinking about this and I've asked a few people. I think what happens is either they're in a routine that's too long, or it's because if I'm using a trap bar or dumbbells, I'm lifting them up and I'm standing up too quickly and it's almost giving me like a head rush. So then I go straight into shrugs and I found myself, I get really fucking nauseous. So it's not the muscular discomfort, it's the nausea.
Could be blood supply to the brain, hey? When you start to...
It's worrying.
No, honestly, it's because you're sort of pulling around the neck muscles and you're straining everything around your throat. It can cause kind of issues when it comes to focus and concentration. Hey, it is, and you'll struggle to breathe properly with shrug exercises sometimes because you're kind of choking up the windpipe. So that lack of oxygen as well can contribute to that feeling of nausea. But put the bloody dumbbells on a bench to start and then pick them up from there. Don't pick them up off the floor.
What should I do? Should I do the shrug standing or seated?
Oh, you can do them seated if you want. If it's easier to just pick them up off the floor, fall back into a bench, not a drama.
Would you have an inclined bench, so my back's supported as well?
No, man, just sit on the seat and stay upright. Keep it dumb, hey. Keep it so simple. Like the least amount of setup, the better, hey. Because your job's just to get in and train the muscle. Don't overthink it, and sometimes you want to use less equipment than more because you have to fight people for it in the gym. So they're the kind of things you got to think about. So dumbbell shrugs. Then we might throw in your neck stuff. So I'm just going to put neck work. You can record it in there if you want. Do you do both directions, back and forth, left and right?
So I will do neck extension, neck flexion, front and back, and then neck, and then on a different day I do neck lateral, which is side by side.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I'm just going to chuck neck work. Do what you like.
Okay. If
you can fit it in there or edit the thing, all good. But I'm not too worried about it. It's not the most critical thing. Hey? It's like tracking how powerful is my Achilles. Okay, so. And let's do a bicep curl. Do you want a bicep curl? I'm not a big fan of them. I think I
love a bicep curl.
You're a shit coach if you don't give a man a bicep curl.
It's one of the few muscle groups that I'm proud of.
Yeah, nice. Flex that. So just with the dumbbell curl, I might make it a wall dumbbell curl. So I'm going to get you to go stand up against a wall, put your feet out slightly in front of the wall just to throw your body weight back against the wall so you don't tip forward. And then what the best thing to do is you kind of fix your elbows, and when the dumbbells kind of tap the side of your thighs but they're still under tension, you start to bring them back up again. And you keep your elbows against the wall the whole time. And so what that'll do is you'll essentially be fixed about here instead of cheating and bringing your elbow forward. So it'll be really humbling. You won't be able to use much weight at all. Like when I do wall curls, I only curl 10 kilos for 6 or 7 reps because I keep it in that sweet, effective spot. And that's kind of what I call like the effective range of motion. So you always hear range of motion or full range of motion, which is essentially maximum stretch to maximum contraction. But what you want is the effective range of motion so that the muscle's always under tension. So with something that's gravity based, if you let your bicep open up fully and let that dumbbell tap the wall at the bottom, it's just hanging there on your limbs. It's not doing any bicep work. But if you just let it tap your thighs so that it stays a little bit under tension and start to change direction slowly, elbows stay on the wall. When you come up to the top, it's going to be like max contraction. It's going to be a stinger. You're going to be like fighting to keep it there for 2 seconds. Do it that way. It's an excellent exercise. So it keeps you really honest. No cheating. Okay, then we just need to set up leg day. Are you a squatting man or a leg press man?
I'm more of a leg press man.
Good man. Squats suck, bro. I don't know why everyone gets keen for them. Leg press just allows you to focus and go hard, and there's no risk of injury. You're never going to stuff your back up, except if you maybe let your knees come back too far. So just be mindful of that. So set up the kit so that the knees don't come back too far.
I have a slight concern with this is that the horizontal leg press at my gym is like I can do full stack and there is zero resistance at full extension because the thing is just so poorly designed. However, on the hip sled, where you're at 45 degrees, I would be worried that if I went to failure, that it would be a bit dangerous because of the plate. So what I tend to do is I tend to maybe go one shy of failure and then lock it out. But I don't know. I'm really open to your views on this. So you could say, Lawrence, stop being a pathetic wiener and, use the hip sled to failure. Or, I'm really open-minded about, what approach you might take.
So the leg press is not providing enough load at the extension position.
Yeah, so what I've done recently is I will sit.
Is your knee? Is your knee straight at that position?
No, not locked out. Is that if that's what you mean?
Not locked out.
No.
Yeah, no. So it's not because obviously at the top, no matter what, as the knee approaches being fully straight, the load on the muscle is going to drop off because it's getting loaded structurally and not on the muscle.
Well, put it this way, I could do. What was the rep range you talked about? 10 to, what was the
12 to 20.
12, 20. So I could do, I reckon I could do over 20 reps. I might be wrong. Maybe it's worth just giving it a try and seeing what happens.
Let's put leg press in.
Yeah.
What I'm going to get you to do with everything is make a video of that first exercise in all your workouts, just so I can see it, man. Like just so I can double check that, what you're describing. And see if there's an easy fix for it. So usually with any machine, I mean, the range of motion is not as critical as people think. It's just doing it in such a way that it keeps the tension on that muscle. So if it means you just need to keep a little bit more of a knee bend to keep that pressure on, go slow. You can even do things like a pause at the bottom. So when the weight stacks are just about to click, do a 2-second pause there. And man, that's hell. That's absolutely hell. You know, the fella that started, I think his business is Restore Strength. He came and had a workout with me in London, and he showed me this pause at the bottom. Like, I mean, it's obviously it's an option, but I just never done it. Like, yeah,
Adam
Budnick, and we had a workout, and he did that with me on the leg press, and it was absolutely brutal. So
was it on a Med-X
little
leg
tricks
press?
like that.
Was it?
No, this was just at the Virgin gym I was working at. It was like a techno gym leg press, nothing fancy. Although they're not bad bits of kit, you know, there's nothing wrong with them. But yeah, so we just did that pause, and because you can see the weight stack, you can like hover just like a mil above it, and it's like that's the way to do it, man. So just shape what you do to keep the load at the right spot. If you know it's going to be weak source at the top, just stop a little bit before it gets too weak, you know, and just figure it out as you go and just pay attention to it.
So I've been kind of doing that. So with this leg press, I can do a 5-minute pause in the bottom. 5 minutes, bloody hell. 5-second pause in the bottom with maybe the harder range of motion.
Yeah.
So do you think I should start with that, or do you think I should start with the standard cadence?
Let's just start with the standard and film it. And then that way I can see what you're describing a little bit, and then go from there. Keep things basic to start with, and then we'll shape it. Because I get the same thing with most leg presses. The weight's not usually an issue, but you can feel that the strength curve of some of these machines, it wouldn't be approved by Arthur Jones, because it's just like hard as hell, and then it's nothing at the top. You know, they're just not set up properly. They have no idea how to make a cam and things like that, which is weird, because the same brand will produce bits of kit that have cams and that provide that even strength curve, and they're really excellent machines, and then others won't. And it's almost like, do they just, I don't know, copy the shape they see on the competing company without maybe understanding the engineering behind what they made? I feel like that's the problem, but yeah. So we'll do leg press. We're going to do leg extension. I do like to hit the front of the quad. What do you usually do for hammies? Like, I usually just do like a lying ham curl or a seated ham curl. Do you have anything you like?
So yeah, I mean, in the gym I use the prone hamstring curl is like terrible.
That.
No, it's terrible.
Oh, it's
so
bad.
the one I like is a standing leg curl.
It's like a machine, is it?
Yeah, it's a machine. It's plate loaded. And it's isolateral.
Yeah, okay. But you have to do one at a time?
Sorry, you do one at a time. So what do you call that?
Yeah.
Whatever you call that.
Yeah, it's just single leg. It's a single standing ham curl, like that's all it is, just single leg. But you can do that, and just when you put the measurement in, you just put the left side. You're going to start with your weak side. So you're right-handed, yeah?
No, I'm left-handed writing.
Are you?
Yeah. But it's weird. I'm right everything else. No, I'm strange. I'm left-handed writing, but then I'm right-handed. I'm a right-handed shooter in basketball. I'm right-footed in football. Like, you know, I'm right everything else. It's just my writing I'm left.
Struck by lightning as a kid, one of God's children.
I don't know anyone like me.
You got them defects.
Everyone I know who's left-handed is like left-footed, left-handed in basketball. Like, it's weird.
That upstairs mix-up. I'm left-handed. I play guitar right-handed. Yeah, all sorts of weird things, but I kick left-handed as well, and I still shoot left-handed in basketball. But just start with the weak side. So whatever the weak limb is, if you do things one at a time, start with the weak side, put a comma, and then the next number, so you'll have the rep count. And what you want to do is match the reps. So don't let the strong side exceed the rep count of the weak side. That's the only thing. So you just marry them up. Don't let one get ahead of the other. Otherwise, you'll end up a lopsided lobster.
What? So,
Okay.
so what do you mean? Like you would adjust the weight then on the other leg if it was stronger?
You just so you start with the weak side and then just copy the rep count for that one onto the next limb. Don't exceed it. So
you don't go to failure then necessarily?
Yeah, you might not be. You might be sub-failure.
Okay.
Yeah, but if you don't do that, what happens is one side will just belt ahead,
Would I ever alternate? So, for instance, the following workout, I would go right, I go dominant first. No, just keep it like that.
Always weak side, because that's pretty much hardwired into your brain. It's neurological now. There's not much you can do to change it. So your strong side will easily be able to exceed the rep count of the weak side. So you have to constrain it by the weak side always. That's just how it's going to be. So we've got that standing ham curl, one leg at a time. And then what I might get you to do is hyperextensions for lower back, but or for posterior chain. What I'll get you to do is set the support piece that goes near your thighs, set it quite low, and that's going to hit your hamstrings a bit harder than your lower back if you set it very, very low. So do you have like a 45-degree hyperextension?
Oh, I see. You mean the
Roman chair?
Yeah, there's not one, unfortunately. Yeah, there's not. No.
Okay, what can we do? We might do we'll do stiff leg deadlifts.
Well, can I make a suggestion? I interviewed Fisher recently, and he talked about torso side bends. So I asked him, what would you do if you didn't have access to a Med-X lumbar extension? And he said torso side bends with plates, where he basically keeps his standing of his hips square. And I've tried this, and it's a really interesting exercise. And he basically will obviously bend with the move the plate towards the floor, and that's like the range of motion, and then come back to a stand.
I want it for hammies.
Sorry?
I want it primarily for hamstrings.
Oh, I see. Right.
Yeah, so that's that's like an oblique exercise, I think, if anything.
Well, his argument is that it stimulates the quadratus lumborum, but he then reckons that then stimulates the lumbar extensors and obliques and abdominal musculature and that.
But we're looking for a more direct hit on the hammies.
Isn't a standing hamstring curl going to do that to an extent?
Yeah, like it will. But I like to just hit it from the other angle, sort of thing. Hamstring's like a funny kind of exercise, because you can when you do a direct curl, it's kind of like the bicep curl for the back of the legs. The reason the hamstring's called the biceps femoris, it's the downstairs bicep. But you can kind of like train it the other way by lifting the leg up towards the glute whilst keeping the leg straight, and that's kind of what your hyperextension or your stiff leg deadlift will do. So what we might do is I might get you to do stiff leg deadlifts with the dumbbells.
Yeah, I'm fine with that, yeah.
Yeah, stiff leg deadlift and do that. And I like to do it after a direct exercise for hammies, because it means you'll go into it pre-fatigued and you won't need to use as heavy a weight on your lower back. So your lower back's not going to kind of get tapped out first or get too compromised. Your hammies, you're going to be really present of how your hammies feel when you do that exercise, but it'll also bring in a bit of lower back and glutes and things like that.
So am I locking my knees out on that, or a slight bend in the knee?
Slight bend, just a hitch. Always a hitch with those kind of things is the best way to do it.
Just keep it straight back, basically.
Yeah, keep try and keep the S.
Yeah. Okay.
It's feel, man. Like the best way to describe it is, lock everything up. Actually, Marcelo used to tell a really funny story about this. He used to say when you did a stiff leg deadlift, you would pretend there was a midget behind your butt, and you try and knock the midget over. And it kind of works. So what you want to do, that's how you want to think. So you're going to lock up the back, have the dumbbells hanging down, slight hitch in the knees, and you're going to push your hips and push your glutes straight back. So see it as like pushing your glutes out, and that's going to naturally bring you down. And you want to feel your hamstrings kind of like open up like an accordion. They're breathing, they're getting stretched out. and then you're going to draw them back together. So instead of thinking about, I'm going to put the dumbbell on the floor and bring it back, which ultimately always ends up in you curving your back over, you want to keep your posture good, drive your hips back, open up your hamstring, let it breathe, and draw it back. And don't come all the way up. So just be slightly bent over just to keep a bit of load on there. But it's a feel exercise. I'm not too worried about how the score progresses on that one. Just see it as focus on your hammies, try and burn them out with just good, clean form and record the number. Don't get overly obsessed with driving that one because you can shift the technique pretty quickly and make it ugly and get, paper numbers. And then we just need one more exercise. So I think we need standing calves. You train those bad boys? Yep.
Yeah. So there's quite a good standing calf machine, actually. If you want me doing it on that.
Yeah, man, that's perfect. That's what we're going to do. Okay, cool. So we've got our list of exercises. I've shared that thing with you online. So everything's in the data tracker. So you've got your again, just with your tabs, you've got your daily calories, weekly body weight, monthly measurements for waist circumference, your workout tracker that looks at frequency, your log sheet where you record your workouts, and that's it. So it's just a case of filling all these things out, doing them properly and accurately, and seeing what happens. At the end of the day, it's kind of your responsibility to run the N=1 experiment on yourself and have good due diligence about it so that you can honestly say to me in a couple of weeks' time, I was honest about everything I did and this was the level of effort I put in. And then it's up to me to kind of divine the numbers and just go, listen, are we moving in the right direction? If yes, keep going. If not, what can we tweak? What can we adjust? And go from there. But my ability to make those decisions for you and guide your training are really up to the level of commitment and the quality of your tracking over the coming weeks.
Cool. All right. Sorry, you were gonna say?
Yeah. Any other questions? Is there anything I needed to clarify? Anything you lost on or need further explanation?
I was just thinking if there is one thing that I might mention. I had a shoulder injury a while back from basketball, from just I think trying to, I know actually, chronic effort to try and block someone. So it's just it really began to irritate the shoulder joint. And then I had I found the next day it was really sore and the soreness lasted for a while. I then went and worked out and I think I irritated it during the workout, I'd worked out too soon. And I think it was because, this is my guess, I was using a close grip, palm supinated chin up. And Bill DeSimone's got a really good video on YouTube where he shows that can potentially irritate the shoulder joint. And he goes into the biomechanics and the cartilage around the joint and all this stuff. And I'm actually going to have him on the show to talk about that a bit soon, actually. So I've stopped doing it a close grip on the chin up. And so with the pull down, with a reverse grip, I wouldn't really want to go close grip on that because I'm a bit concerned about the shoulder joints. So am I all right to go shoulder width grip?
Yeah.
On that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not concerned about dumbbell press or the dumbbell laterals because one thing I love about high intensity training and something, I had a friend come to visit recently, podcast guest Brandon Olin, and we did a workout here, and my shoulder the day before the workout was quite irritable, and I thought, maybe I get the workout miss, and then I just thought, you know what, I'm gonna it wasn't sore the next day, or it wasn't really bothering me that much, so I thought I'm gonna give it a go and see how it goes, and if I experience any pain, I'll stop. And I was able to do overhead press, because I did it with such, smoothly and with good form. The joint didn't get irritated, and I didn't go to failure because I wanted to be careful, but I was 2% away from failure. Let's put it that way. So I'm not. I think I'll be fine with this template. But obviously, if I have any issues, we can address it at the time. Yeah,
no, exactly. You just bring them up, and there's always a way to tweak that recipe. If anything, there's a fair bit of overloading of the pressing movements and things like that there. So there's always options to take things away, to give you breathing room and stuff like that. But fundamentals, man, just set up your posture properly, pick a sensible weight, do it slow and controlled, slow, smooth turnarounds. That's going to take most of the problems out of it. It's when you have a little bit of a furphy and try and, jam things and push things, beyond that point. And I know like HIT guys love to get sort of, I guess, heroically express this idea of failure. It's the cadence, I think, at the end of the day. Like a controlled, consistent cadence gives us all the tools to measure and have decidability on our training. And if we're slightly short of failure, it's not a big drama. As long as it's hard and we've triggered enough motor units with a near failure activity, that's okay too, And if the numbers are moving forward, even if you say the numbers move forward every week for the next couple of weeks, but you're like, 100% I wasn't going as fully hard to failure as I could have. That's not a drama because you're still massaging up the numbers. You're still expressing that you can control more weight across time. And eventually that gap between, improvement and potential improvement will close right down, or that slack will come out of the line eventually, where to get the next rep requires everything you have. You know what I mean? So you can only get away with undercooking for so long anyway. It catches up with everyone. But I'd rather you did really good control, consistent form, smooth turnarounds, and recorded the numbers accurately than was this the most, epic heroics out of my life, across all these exercises, So if they are a few of those injured areas, man, don't be afraid to pull your punches a little bit.
Cool. Okay. So that's awesome. I took a bunch of notes there. I will get cracking on doing what I need to do straight away. I suppose, obviously I've already eaten today, and I will eat again in probably an hour or so. Should I track that or should I start from tomorrow?
Start tomorrow.
Okay. That's good.
You're gonna rush to the supermarket and buy yourself a fat tub of Ben and Jerry's and you're gonna eat yourself till you hate yourself. I got 1 day left. I got 2 hours left. Let's go. It doesn't count. So good.
So what if I have questions? How does it work? Do I email you?
Man, you email me. Keep it short, to the point. But we're going to check in on video in a couple of weeks. But I think the rule of thumb is like, don't be an arsehole. So, you don't want, and even for yourself as a client, like you shouldn't need to communicate with me more than my wife communicates with me. You know what I mean? It should just be, the natural point of time to be asked a question is, something gets in your way with your diet or your food choices and you really need that info, can't find it for yourself, or after your workout, something happened and you need a bit of clarity about it. And if you're going to ask questions about the workout, I mean, it's good to film it, like sometimes it's good to show me what's happening because things get lost in translation and in description. So if there's one thing I want you to maybe achieve over the next couple of weeks is get me a video of at least the chest press, at least the pull down, at least the leg press. Because we're going to be able to diagnose any issues with form. Again, like I said, I don't expect much of an issue with form with you, but it's surprising what you discover when you put a video on yourself. And it's true of me, like, some of the freebies I've released with you recently, my head moves around a lot. And it's good to see that and talk about it. And when people bring it up, you just go, my head should be still. It shouldn't be going back and forth, trying to milk out more reps. I don't see what my head's got to do with this leg press, but it's shaking up and down for some strange reason. So putting the video on yourself is a really good way to expose some of those subconscious behaviors and just try and, knock them on the head early. Whereas I've had experiences with clients where I've trained them in person. I've then put them onto online training. We've then looked at their data for a month or two and they've gotten really good results on paper. And then I tell them to show me a video or they just offer the video and they're like, check out my leg. And everything that had been established had been undermined. It was just like normie central with this technique. And you have to then explain to, and they get a little bit upset at first because here they were thinking that they were just like marching ahead and getting all these gains. And you had to explain to them that you kind of robbed yourself, you kind of scored an own goal there with your form. Again, that's not going to happen with you, but when we see it, we can be a little bit more fastidious about it and get it perfect,
All right. Awesome. Is there anything else, or are we at the end? I mean, I don't think, thinking about it now, I don't have any questions now, but I guess I will do probably in the future.
Yeah.
And, I won't ask any questions if I can figure out for myself, as you stated there, which I appreciate. Because I don't want to waste.
One of the things,
yeah.
That's one of the things about online coaching is you don't want useless clients, and you don't want to be a useless client. You want to be someone who's accepting their sphere of responsibility and doing the things asked of them. And then you want a coach who kind of knows ahead of time how they're going to stuff this up and knows how to check on it. Knows how to ask the right questions and capture a bit of video so that we can get those things knocked on the head early. And then the rest is just a case of good data and the coach being able to go back and forth with the client and get them moving in the right direction. But learn to stand on your own 2 feet, take responsibility for the fact that you need to do these things like eat properly, weigh things, enter them into MyFitnessPal and the data sheet, and you need to measure your body weight once a week. You need to take the monthly measurements, put in your workout tracker info, and do your log sheet. Accept responsibility for that. The better you do that, the better tools I have. And honestly, if you do your end of the bargain properly, then it's pretty easy from my end. I'm not going to get caught out with bad data at the end of the day. So you're only helping yourself by sort of committing to this process and doing it properly.
All right, awesome. Anything else, or should we wrap that one up?
Mate, rock and roll. I think you're ready to go.
I am. I'm quite excited, actually. These workouts look pretty awesome, so I'm excited to get started. What's the best way for listeners to find out more about you?
IntenseGainsGary@gmail.com, and you can find me at Facebook. My name's Gary Knight. They can probably find me through your page. I often comment there on the forums, those entertaining forums that we all love to participate in. So yeah, if they want to find me, they'll find me. But Intense Gains Gary, and obviously the links will all be in there in the podcast. I haven't really been. I shut down my Intense Gains website a while ago just because I don't know. I'm not really interested in doing the whole blog online kind of thing. So going forward, I'm mostly just going to give away free programs that you can kind of do it yourself with. Put you on an email list that'll kind of deliver some cool free content. But I just kind of want my own platform, and I kind of want my relationship with people to be maybe a bit more private, so it's just that they get some snippets of cool info from me. They need to ask me questions or engage me as a coach. I'm there for them through the emails, but I'm keeping it pretty low tech, to be honest.
No worries. And for everyone listening, to find the blog post for this episode, all of the resources that Gary and I mentioned, including all the trackers, things he gives away for free, which are super valuable, whether you're an online HIIT coach. So he's done a whole welcome pack and tracker that you can use to start your own online HIIT coaching business. But also, if you're on the other side and you're a client or someone who wants to just improve their results, then you can opt in for his training program via, which is what have you called it? It's the one with the electric music. You're going to have a go for saying electric because it's not electric, is it?
I've got HD Retro.
That's it, HD Retro.
Obviously, we haven't
published it.
The podcast where we went over that isn't published yet, but it'll be ready. It's pretty much ready, but I'm actually going to redo some of the material and make it even better. I just want to pack a bit more value in there in the back end, but the video stuff's really, really cool. So there's HD Retro, that'll be linked up. But I did release in the last couple of days Program 1, which was kind of a rehash of the very first podcast we did together. I gave away basically a Big 5 workout and a log sheet, but I've actually gone in and updated everything. Same video, pretty much the same log sheet, but I've put all these follow-up emails where I've written some really comprehensive, detailed stuff. It's probably some of my finest written work. It's book quality kind of stuff, and you get it, once a week, kind of teaching you the critical bits of kind of deep information you need to understand. So I wouldn't say it's quite like Body by Science, but it's somewhere between, a Mike Mentzer and a Doug McGuff kind of production in terms of quality,
If you don't say so yourself.
If I don't say so myself. But it is. I did a lot of edits and a lot of re-edits, and I put a lot of time into it, actually. So getting this kind of stuff for free. And just when it went out maybe 3 days ago, and I've posted a few little short Facebook rants or blogs, and I've linked it, and there's something like 60 people have already grabbed it. So it's getting picked up really quick. My email box needs filtering now because there's too many sub notifications, which is good. So
awesome.
It's hitting the right mark.
Yeah, we'll link that all up in the show notes, and I'll probably link to all of the episodes you've done on the podcast because I think it's just going to add a richness to this conversation. And to get the show notes for this one, please go to highintensitybusiness.com/coach. And for all episodes, please go to highintensitybusiness.com/podcast. And until next time, thank you very much for listening.
Discover how to achieve your health and fitness goals, become a great personal trainer, and build a successful high-intensity training business. Check out highintensitybusiness.com. highintensitybusiness.com.
This episode is brought to you by ARX, the most innovative, efficient, and effective all-in-one exercise machines I have ever seen. I was really impressed with my ARX workout. The intensity and adaptive resistance was unlike anything I've ever experienced. I love how the machine enables you to increase the negative load to fatigue target muscles more quickly, and I love how the workouts are effortlessly quantified. The software tracks maximum force output, rate of work, total amount of work done, and more in front of you on screen, allowing you to compete with your previous performance to give you and your clients real-time motivation. The ARX uses a computer-controlled motor to give you the exact amount of resistance your clients need 100% of the time. This means that the resistance can never become dangerous, is intuitive and simple to use, and can provide you with all of the results you and your clients are looking for in a fraction of the time. ARX is highly effective and efficient in delivering all of the benefits of exercise, including increased strength, muscle mass, cardiovascular conditioning, bone mineral density, and injury recovery. As well as being utilized by many high-intensity trainers to deliver highly effective and efficient workouts to their clients, ARX comes highly recommended by world-class trainers and brands, including Bulletproof, Tony Robbins, and Ben Greenfield Fitness. To find out more about ARX and get $500 off install when you place an order, please go to arxfit.com and mention HIB, that's High Intensity Business, in the How Did You Hear About Us field. So again, to get $500 off install when you place an order, head on over to arxfit.com and enter HIB in the How Did You Hear About Us field.